Imagine a space for South Asian women where stories are not just told, but actually felt. This is Rue, Rising Over Obstacles and Healing, brought to you by Jyoti and Monica, two friends who set out to carve a little space and make a difference by sharing stories and fostering healing and strength within our community. We invite you to listen and reflect, finding your own path one story at a time. And just for sticking around, there's a golden biscuit at the end of each episode. Hi, and welcome back to Rue. So last week, Monica and I talked about New Year's resolutions, and I think one of the things we talked about was prioritizing self-care as South Asian women, because we all know that that is a challenge. As we were reflecting on that, though, we realized that self-care often gets tangled up with self-image. And especially in our community, there's this heavy, unspoken pressure to look like we have it all together, whether it's the latest designer bag or a specific label we're wearing, or especially even cars. There's often this race to outdo one another. And so today we want to look at that label culture, not to judge it, but to really understand it. Why are we so obsessed with brands? Is it just about the clothes or the car? Or is it a deeper search for validation and safety? So let's dive into this topic of why we wear what we wear or drive what we drive. So Monica, you tell me, have you ever been obsessed with brands or cars or anything like that?
Yeah, it started at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was I think I was going to be entering middle school. So I was in 5th grade. And that's when Nike and Adidas were coming up and, distinguishing those between other brands like Reebok and Champion. And unfortunately, judging other kids who did not wear those or wore the knockoff versions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I feel so bad. I can't believe I used to. But you know what it is? I used to know internally too, hey, maybe they just can't afford it or, like that. But I don't know where that comes from, but it was there. And then, going to 7th and 8th grade, I started just loving everything about cars. Just not the way they looked, but I guess the engineering behind it and all that. My favorite car I wanted the McLaren F1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then, something that I thought was actually attainable and would have been good to drive was the Lincoln Navigator and the Cadillac Escalade. And I distinctly...
So you like big cars.
I liked big cars. Yeah.
But McLaren's not big, is it?
McLaren's not big, but it's fast.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was a nice, fast car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then slowly, I think at that time, then when I started working, when I was about 15, Guess was a big thing.
I remember Guess. Yep.
Guess, and what else? And Club Monaco, Banana Republic. I don't know, any other things. And then slowly, as I got out of high school, then I started learning about, I remember I would always see this bag on the show The Hills. And I was like, that is such a beautiful bag. What bag does LC have? Lauren Conrad.
Oh.
And it was a Chanel bag.
Oh.
And I was like, I want that bag. That's classic.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's just forever.
Yeah.
And I still remember going into a Chanel boutique with one of my best friends. Her and I were so crazy. We're pretending like we're really rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
our pretending to be rich used to be we'd have a fake British accent.
Oh, gosh. That's pretty funny.
And, and then we'd we talk about all this nonsense and stuff, trying to pretend we have. And at that time, I believe it was the one that I wanted was roughly about 28 to 3,200 Canadian at that time.
Yeah.
And that was
a steal by today's standards.
Exactly. 18 years ago, 18 years ago. And I remember at that time thinking, oh, it's fine. I'll get a job. I'll save money and, I'll get it. What's the big deal? Not knowing that yearly, it increases. And I think it has more so now drastically.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the finer things. I would see clothes and stuff. I remember my most expensive clothing piece I ever purchased was a Nanette Lepore dress.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, slowly, I guess, after I got married, you're more responsible
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
everything pretty much, right? The bills, the mortgage and all that. I don't think that really put any perspective in me for brands. It was much so later on when I just started realizing that it was so much more about just consumerism and trying to get people to feel that they were rich by buying these things. It wasn't about being wealthy or being well off. It was just about showing off as if you had it all. And the cost of that was you basically working so hard and spending every penny on a materialistic item.
Yeah.
And I remember for the longest, I did still want that Chanel bag. And then one day I just thought of it. I was like, why would I spend $5,000 on a bag and not have $5,000 to put into that bag?
Yeah.
Like, that was my logic.
That's
if
very
after I
sound
spend
logic.
that money, I don't have that money, then I shouldn't be owning something like that. Because that's me just faking it, pretending it or whatever. And also, you start seeing celebrities with all those brands and stuff, and you realize the ratio of their income to that product and what your income is. It does not make sense you to be doing that.
Carrying that bag.
And a lot of times they're gifted those items.
Yes.
Most of the time they don't.
For the
it's
company.
Free advertisement, right? We see it and then we want to be like them. And then my other thing was gender-based, because I realized, why are men not told to buy such expensive things?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, I think with men, it's more so the cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, a
it's
lot
more
of them.
so the cars,
definitely.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, for me, I know that I always liked, I don't know where it comes from, but I definitely also sort of had an eye for something that was like nice and branded. I think it might have been years of my parents buying us like Kmart clothes. How there's Walmart, there used to be a Kmart. I think they all closed down now.
Yeah.
And, my parents would just they would take us there. I would say when we were in middle school, middle school, they would take us a couple of times a year and buy us clothes for the entire season. And that's it. And then I think I just had this desire to want to, to buy something that I really liked that was not Kmart, and so I remember very first thing I bought was a Gap hoodie, and that was such a big thing. It was I still remember it was emerald green or hunter green, and then it had the big GAP in the front, and I just felt so cool wearing it. I have a Gap hoodie, right? It started from that, but then Guess, Ralph Lauren, Coach. It was oh, I'm going to have a Coach bag. And when I bought this Coach bag, it was nobody else had it. And it just, you felt so cool. Oh, I have a nice designer bag kind of.
Yeah.
Right? And then it just kind of goes, it's funny because you start out small and then you keep going higher and higher. You remember when Michael Kors used to be such a big deal?
Oh, definitely.
Right?
I remember. So my first designer bag, I guess you could say, was a Coach bag, which was gifted to me by my mom and my brother for my birthday, my 24th birthday. And I remember feeling as happy as I was, I felt so bad that they spent so much money on that bag.
Yeah.
I think back then, what was it it probably is now. I haven't gone into the store much, but $500 or so, right? Around there, $500-$600. And I felt so guilty. And till this day, I still have it. Keep it in the protective cover and all that, the memory of it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I made my own first purchase with the Michael Kors bag. It was that, I can't recall what the model was, but it was that black, boxy, rectangular one with the lock on it.
Yeah.
And the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I bought my Coach bag, it was right when I was getting married, and I bought it as a gift for myself, and I remember my friend saying to me, "You're crazy. Why would you spend that much money on a bag? It's ridiculous." Right. And to me, I think I just didn't understand the concept. And it was like, well, it's a Coach bag, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's what it was. And I think there is quality to these items. It's not that, the craftsmanship and all that. And like you said, you also built to it. I'm sure you worked, you saved, you didn't just go in. It wasn't an impulsive buy.
It was not. Yeah, definitely not. But then, you know what it is like there comes a time, I wish I had stopped at Coach, but I did not. It was like after Coach came Michael Kors. After Michael Kors, it was like, okay, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, and just all these brands, right? And it wasn't until just recently that I realized that, yeah, I have all these bags, all these branded bags, but are they truly bringing me happiness? Right? I think it gets to the point where the novelty of it just wears off after a while. And you're just like, okay, well, why am I chasing this if this is not keeping me happy at all times? Right? And that aha moment actually came when Goyard bags became the craze.
Oh, God. Don't get me started on those.
Honestly, I am so thankful to this brand because all of a sudden I started seeing these bags everywhere. And I'm just like, I find them hideous. I'm sorry. But like that canvas or whatever material it is. And the logo honestly reminds me of Tory Burch.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought it was Tory Burch initially. And then I find out that no, it's Goyard and they're thousands and thousands of dollars. And everyone's just like all about getting these bags. And I'm just like, wait, they don't, first of all, look all that amazing. Second of all, like, where's this audacity of like charging thousands of dollars for this bag coming from? And then I started thinking about like, it was in the news. I had heard it, but like I didn't pay much attention when I got my Christian Dior bag, but like it was there, about how these bags are made at such a low cost. The employees are not treated all that well. And then they're sold for such crazy prices. And it's not that the quality's any better. It's just marketing.
Yeah.
And we're falling prey to it. So when that realization hit, I think I finally got cured. I think I was finally like, okay, like this is a rat race.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in it,
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was never like, oh, well, this bag is going to set me apart, or this bag, like I'm wearing this so people will notice that I have this bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always really liked like nice things. And I just kind of, if it was something I liked and it was branded, it was like, fine. It wasn't like I'm getting this branded stuff because everyone's going to look at me and go, oh, she has this brand.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was just as happy wearing a Coach bag, and actually Coach bags are great quality.
Yeah.
Any Coach bags that I've ever gotten, they're still going strong.
Apparently their material, the leather they use, is much better in comparison to other brands.
Yeah.
And, as you were describing these Goyard bags and the price that they are sold at, and most importantly, the low cost of making them, it just reminds me of how we as human beings, sometimes we don't even think twice about what it is we're buying or purchasing. We just see a price tag. And we automatically equate it to luxury, better quality, it's good for us. This is better than something else.
Yeah.
And, we don't even realize like what we're putting our money into. We're basically feeding into this marketing scheme of the higher we price something, more people are going to want this. Let's create something that's very rare. And the quality doesn't even need to be there. We're just going to make money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think when I actually finally caught on to that, I was cured, And the other thing too, honestly, what I've noticed, and maybe it's age and wisdom that you gain from aging, but I've noticed that anything you buy, it could be the smallest thing, the biggest thing, it eventually loses its novelty. cherish it, you enjoy it the first time, the second time, the third time. I mean, heck, even the first year that you have this item.
Yeah.
Come the second year, it doesn't bring you that same happiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh my gosh, I love this, right? It starts to lose its appeal to you.
Mm-hmm.
We've noticed that with kids and toys.
Right? Oh, yeah.
They always want every toy that's out there,
even
if they have like 10 others like it. But then, they want it, they have to have it, they need it, they bring it home, play. I don't know about your kids, my kids definitely do this. They'll play with the toys for a day, 2 days, a week, and then forget all about it like the second week.
Oh, yeah. Out of sight, out of mind. So if it's there and they haven't played with it for a while, no. But as soon as like I pack it, put it away somewhere, and I bring it back, then it's almost like it's new again to them. Like they missed it and it wasn't there. And it could be the same thing that it was in that room and they just didn't, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what it's kind of become. Like there's just so much out there that I wonder that we think that, this is going to give us joy and hey, maybe this will be the last item we get. And this is that one thing I worked so hard for. But then, like you said, after a while, it's like, well, it doesn't truly bring you contentment, right? Purchasing items.
Yes.
I think contentment comes from within, realizing truly what makes you happy. And it's not even just happy. I think it's just, just being, I guess, I don't know, how would you describe it? Just okay with whatever it is that you have and not needing satisfied and not having to chase something.
Yeah. That's what it is, right? Like I was just thinking about it myself and I was thinking we're selling ourselves short when we resort to seeking compliments for what we're wearing. If we're wearing something because we want to be complimented on it, then we're really selling ourselves short because I think we're worth more than that. We're worth more than the car we drive or the bag that we're carrying or the jewelry that we're wearing or the clothing. You know what I mean? Having that realization that, like you were saying, we're worth it in the last episode. I really, since then have been thinking about what self-worth means. And that's how like this whole topic of is our worth defined by what we have or is it defined by the type of person we are? And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's about being satisfied.
Yeah, I think lately I've been thinking about that a lot because I really wonder, like with all these entrepreneurs who are becoming billionaires and trillionaires, like where is their satisfaction?
Yeah.
And it's not about being jealous for someone's money or what they've earned. No matter how much you earn, it's hopefully from an honest living. It's just not being able to see other things around you that are more important than just accumulating wealth. And I think that it goes back to that. Like you said, like, are we just going to spend our whole lives accumulating items and things? And instead of just gaining, knowledge or self-respect or satisfaction, spirituality, so many things that you could do that aren't materialistic and they put value in your life.
Yeah, you're right about this. And again, I don't think like we're trying to judge here. I think like for someone who gets complete satisfaction and happiness from luxury goods, then it's fine, right? But I just think that the question we need to ask is, are we doing this because it truly, genuinely makes us happy? Or are we doing this because we're seeking external validation? I think that's like the main point, right? I think I don't want to knock down anyone and be like, oh, well, this person is wearing everything branded. And it's not about labeling anyone any such way. I think if it's truly internally making you happy, then kudos to you. That's great, right? I also think that, we don't have to be in competition with anyone. I think that's where a lot of times with South Asians, we try to outdo one another and we measure success by the amount of wealth and the fancy cars and all these material goods that one has. And that's where I think my issue is that we shouldn't be doing that. First of all, we should just celebrate anyone that's successful. Everyone's in a different path. Everyone's journey is going to look different. So if someone is making good money, they're spending this money on themselves, buying these things, that's great. We can be happy for that person and not feel like, oh gosh, well, she has this bag now. I have to get a bag that's nicer than this. Or she has this Van Cleef bracelet and I need to get one or two or three to outdo this person.
Yeah, outdo, or that you need to live up to this status. That if so-and-so, if this is what the new fad is, this is what people are buying or purchasing, that I also need to have that, or anything other than that is less.
Yeah.
Then, like your worth is not related to what you choose to purchase. And, years ago, this was even still when I still kind of really liked, purchasing items that were branded. I remember hearing someone make a comment about another person who, we knew came from a really nice family, and they were belittling them because of the choice of car that they drove.
Really?
Or things like that. And I remember even at that point just thinking like, if anything, like kudos to that person for not caring that they have the means to do it and they choose to just not, because, and especially now more so as I'm becoming more conscious about my purchases, it's more so just about not being wasteful, because anything that you consume, you also have to let go of something that's old, and I really don't want to be wasteful. Yeah, so it's those kinds of comments, I feel like, that are just in our society, said or unsaid, that sometimes forces you or clouds your judgment in certain items and things that you may be doing.
Oh, someone actually blatantly one time said to my father-in-law, it was just really funny because I think he was stopped at a stoplight. He was in the Toyota 4Runner that he had, the infamous 4Runner that he drove to the ground, basically, that he had for years. I think he was in that. He was at a stoplight and somebody he knew pulled up next to him and was like, what are you doing still driving this old car? You should be in a Mercedes or something, And he just looked at the guy and he's like, okay, well, you buy it for me. If it bothers you this much, why don't you purchase it for me?
Yeah.
And it was just so comical to me that this person thought that it was not fitting for my father-in-law to be driving such an old car, that he should be in a Mercedes instead, And my father-in-law is one of those people, he could care less. He honestly could care less, And that's what I aspire to be. I aspire to be someone who has the guts to say no to all this societal pressure.
Right.
Not fall into it.
Okay. So, to be honest, I think the shift in me really occurred with being on social media and Instagram. When I first created an Instagram account, like you did and many of, the listeners here, it was your personal account. You posted a picture of yourself, some filters, those funny boomerangs, and things like that. And it slowly, eventually evolved into you following influencers, right? And seeing these people's lifestyles. And they created this virtual connection that you first trusted this person. And then it's almost like you got to know them on this online platform. And then you wanted to be like them, have the things they have. And now my feed is less about what my friends are posting and more about what these brands are giving to these influencers. And, no matter how much better you think you are, you're not. Okay, fine. Maybe I'm not aspiring to buy Chanel or anything like that, but I'm definitely buying those Amazon links that they're posting on their accounts. Right? Does that make me any better than someone else? And I think when we were having this conversation prior to our recording, what I've just noticed, and I just hate the shift that's come in our society, is that we idolize these people, that whether they purchase these things or have been gifted by brands, and that the more someone has, the more value we add to them. Whereas it shouldn't be that case. It should be the person is valuable for who they are, the kind of person they are, how they treat others. And if anything, honestly, I feel like real, true celebrities should be those who are scientists, healthcare, researchers, frontline workers, police officers, military, anyone who is doing a service for others. People who are out there that are actually making a difference in this world, not someone who just struts around with their things.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's the rise of YouTubers, rise of influencers that, even like my kids, like some of their favorite celebrities, like Mr. Beast is one of them. And I'm just like, okay, not someone who's saving lives, like,
Yeah. And did you know, like now when they ask the younger generation, the number one occupation children say is YouTubers or TikToker.
Yeah. Wow.
And how sad is that?
Wow. Yeah. It's not a researcher. It's not a writer.
And I'm not saying, listen, you do it. I'm sure their work gets done, you have to post stuff. Like it's just that we're creating this fake fantasy and we're forcing people to buy into it.
Yeah, you're right about that. This is a topic that we could probably, like many of our topics, talk about for a long time. And I'm sure there are many opinions about this topic. And like I said from the beginning, it's not meant to judge anyone. It's not about right or wrong. It's just our experiences and what we see. And I just know that like I want my kids to idolize someone who is bringing value to this society, right? So I would say as our golden biscuit, and we've had this many times before too, I feel like it's a repeat golden biscuit, if you will, which is that, let's compliment one another on our personalities and what we like about the person and not about material things. We can start with something as small as that, right?
Yes.
And the other thing is the next time you're about to make a really big purchase, whether it's a handbag or jewelry or a car, just think, would I buy this item if this brand name wasn't attached to it?
Yeah.
And that's how you'll know,
thought.
Right? That's how you'll know if you are becoming a slave to consumerism or you're just buying this because you really happen to like the particular car or bag or jewelry or whatnot.
Right.
Remove the brand from it. And if you still love it and you like it, then go for it. And with that, we'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you for listening to Rue. We appreciate you joining us as we cultivate a community of strong, empowered women, one story at a time. If you or someone you know has a story you'd like to share, please contact us at roohdaraz@gmail.com. That's ROOHDARAAZ@gmail.com. Also, do us a favor and please share this podcast with your sisters, your mom, your friends, aunties, your eyebrow lady, like any lady you know. You get the idea. Till next time, kush raho, be well.